will. But because in the end, Christ is always right. I ask the Spirit of Christ, students. In Genesis 15:13, you said to Abram that Israel would be afflicted for 400 years. And God said yes. A day for the Lord is 1,000 years, 1,000 years is one day. But 400 years, God said, is only 4 seconds of my time. Wait a minute now. Okay. So Israel was afflicted for 4 seconds. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. So God, wait a minute now. Let's get the math. I said, Holy Spirit, you said to Abram, let the seed of Abram will be afflicted for 400 years, and then they shall come out with great substance. God said, yes. But I also read in the next canon document of Exodus 12 and 40, including Galatians 3:17, that Israel was in Egypt for 400. And thank you, Prophet Erica, you remember that. You know what the Holy Spirit told me? Oh, Lord. When Moses and Aaron, and of course, God was upset with Moses because God told Moses, don't take your wife nor your 2 sons to Egypt. Leave them with your father-in-law, Jethro, and then when you come up out of Egypt and come through the wilderness of Zin, you can pick them up. But because of Moses' wounding from his past, well, wait a minute now. Aaron and Yoshabel put Moses in a basket. I taught a lesson some years ago on our Global Master Class. Moses was a basket case. Moses was hard-headed. Yes, I promise Israel will only be in bondage and suffering for 400 years, and that happened. But why did it take Israel another 30 years to come out of bondage? 30 years of 10 plagues. 30 years Moses had to be re-prepared by God in order to prepare the people. 30 years for the exiting of one reset in order to go into a new reset. 430 years. Let me get a drink of tea. Come on, somebody. You listen to the voice of God. And God will sit back and you know, after you get done crying and mad at God, then God says, oh, you done. So, Genesis 15:13, 400 years. But when Moses got to Egypt, their suffering ended, even though there came the 10 plagues. So the people had a reprieve for the 30 years before they left Egypt. 30 years of preparation, 30 years of God resetting Moses and Aaron and Miriam, their sister, and 30 years of the plagues, and 30 years of preparing the people, of getting their house in order. So they left the old reset of Egypt, of the land of Ham, in order to go into a new reset, the promised land. So in Exodus 12:51, Israel exits Egypt. When? 30 years after Moses came back. Oh, Lord, I don't know if you're ready for this. Wait. But we were not taught this. God never contradicts himself. Yes, in Genesis 15:13, I will deliver them from their suffering. So their suffering stopped at 400 years. So the 30 additional years was a reprieve to heal the nation. Oh, 30 represents the blood of Christ. Thank you, Apostle Joan. Christ started his public ministry at the age of 30. Under the rabbinical law, a man could not go into priesthood until the age of 30. Later, it was changed to 50 under David. Christ entered the public global ministry of apostolicity at the age of 30. So God had to heal and cure and make whole Israel for 30 years. After Moses came back, Israel had to wait for another 30 years because God had to deal with the basket case of Moses' past. The first trimester, 400 years. The second trimester, 30 years. The third trimester, Israel's exit. Then the promised land, the birth. We are at the 80th year again. Every 80 years, we are at the 80th year, 2026, based on oil, Venezuela. Is your minds blown? So, in my conclusion, Venezuela, the CIA, and the parallax view. Joshua is anointed to take the people into promise. God did not choose one of the sons of Moses. I don't know why so many people in the apostolic realm, in the apostolic world, where these bishops pass away, and they feel that their children must not, God doesn't choose leadership. Moses, he did not have a blood son named Joshua. So God chooses Joshua in Joshua chapter 1. We are here in 2026 at the 80th year, every 80 years, the beginning of a new global reset beginning in Venezuela. Here's the reset. 2026, the new reset. President Trump, his tariffs take effect, bringing trillions of dollars back to the United States. The gold now at Fort Knox is $4,000 per ounce, which is the first time in history. The Federal Reserve cuts rates. The reevaluation of gold. The United States is the largest gold reserve owners on the earth, followed by Germany and Italy, France, Russia, and China. The global reset. Every 80 years, we are in the 80th year, 2026. Gold is covered with Bitcoin. I don't trust Bitcoin, but no, this is the wisdom of President Trump. He says, I'm not going to make the mistake that JFK made. I'm not going to get my head blown off. So I'm going to add Bitcoin as a coat that will keep the gold warm. Listen, Mandani. Cutting foreign investment by investing in America. The stable coin market share is rising. Gold is rising $4,000 per ounce during the Trump administration for the first time in history, slowly decreasing the power of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is an illegal entity according to the first Constitution. We are in the 80th year. the beginning of a new reset, 2026. The gold standard is being restored by the Trump administration, layered with Bitcoin. 1933, gold was seized. 1971, the gold standard was destroyed. It ended. 2025, Trump restores the gold standard, being connected to Bitcoin, which is introduced. Why would Trump do this? Venezuela, CIA, and the Parallax View. In 1785, I love history, I love teaching. In 1785, the United States defaulted on its Revolutionary War debt. The Articles of Confederation failed. The continental currency became worthless. This young nation, the United States, almost died as an infant. That's 1785. In 1865, the Civil War ended. It started on the 12th of April in 1861 and ended on the 9th of April in 1865. In 1865, the Civil War ended. America is drowning in debt in 1865. The greenback inflation destroyed by savings. The gold standard was abandoned. The nation teetered on bankruptcy. That's 1865. We go to 1945, the end of World War II. Great Britain is bankrupt after World War II. Europe is in a mess, is in ruins. The entire global monetary system had to be rebuilt from scratch at the Bretton Woods Conference in 1944. Thank you, Pastor James, for just establishing the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. That was in 1944. That's 1944. And now, 80 years, every 80 years, the 80th year, 2026, which is the 80th year of the current cycle. We have gone into the K wave. What's the K wave? The K wave, the Kondratieff cycle, Kondratieff, Kondratieff cycle. If you can find a link on that, put the link up on that, Apostle Lane. The Kondratieff cycle, long debt cycle. Every 80 years, debt accumulates beyond the point of repayment. The system breaks and automatically resets itself every 80 years through war, default, monetary revolution, Venezuela. 2026 is the 80th. Thank you so much, Pastor Quinn. That's right, Bishop. The Bank of England became nationalized in 1946 by the Rothschilds. In 2026, the mechanism is biological. The 80th year is not random. It is the mathematical result of 420 years of generational spending. Generational one, crisis, war, default, monetary resets. American intervention, people crying about, why is Trump in Venezuela? This has been happening going back to our nation's history in the year of 1900, when the United States government, through the military-industrial complex of America, intervened and went into the Honduras in 1900 in order to protect American agricultural interests. The Central Intelligence Agency after World War II, after being absorbed through the Office of Strategic Services, now the CIA, since World War II, the CIA has, and I want you to follow the Holy Spirit. Not me, follow me as I follow the Holy Spirit. The CIA, since World War II, has been destabilizing Central and South America in order to destroy communism, socialism, Marxism, Leninism, fascism from those nations to protect our interests. Because without American oil companies, without American gold companies, without American mineral companies, Venezuela, Mexico, Nicaragua, the Honduras, they will be destroyed without us. Nicolas Maduro, I gotta say this. Nicolas Maduro is a chess piece. That's all he is. Let me say this again. Nicolas Maduro is a chess piece. He's a pawn. That's the parallax view. Oil. It's not about oil. Let me say this. It's not about oil. It's not about drugs. It's not about terrorism. It's not about communism, Marxism, socialism, fascism. It's about all of these entities combined. It makes sense. Thank you, Apostle Rick. President Trump is not being reactionary. But President Trump is a spiritual and a political calculating president who is playing to win, not to lose. The world is splitting apart, and that's by design. One side, you have the communists, the socialists, the Marxists, the Leninists, the fascists, the Mandummies of the world. Then you have the Islamic reach within Eastern, Central, and Western Europe. Then you have the authoritarians of Russia, China, to a certain extent, India. So what Trump is doing is discrediting the global elite, beginning with Europe. Europe does not want the Ukrainian and the Russian war to end because NATO and the EU is making billions of dollars. But Trump says, I'm putting a stop to that. But you got people, why is he taking over? No, listen. He's playing chess, not checkers. And Maduro is just a chess piece. European fascists. Europe wants to establish a fascist global government. But Trump says you are not. We have been taking care of Europe since World War II. That day is over. No more Marshall plans. That day is over. We're not sending NATO billions of dollars. We're not sending the European Union billions of dollars. That day is over. Now you got people like Kamala Harris. Why Trump is destroying the alliances. Yes, we don't need them. Let every nation have the right to self-determination. Let every nation take care of themselves. But if the United States is threatened, any missiles being set up in Venezuela is another bait and pigs. Venezuela, the CIA in the parallax view. We are living in the fourth industrial revolution. BRICS, we talk about BRICS. What does BRICS stand for? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. BRICS was designed by the 13 families to destroy the American empire. BRICS has now expanded to